welcome to Your Vote Counts, a candidate forum sponsored by Capital Community TV and the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties. My name is Diana Bodker, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan political organization that works to educate ourselves and the public about government issues. We do not support candidates, but provide a forum for them to become better known to our communities. In this program, we will present the candidates for the Oregon House of Representatives, District 22. They are alphabetically Matt Geiger, Betty Comp, and Michael Marsh. Our format for this forum is as follows. Each candidate has 3 minutes to give an opening statement outlining his or her top 3 priorities if elected. Following that, each candidate will be given 1.5 minutes to answer questions that have been prepared by League members on current issues. The candidates were not given the questions ahead of time. At the end, the candidates will have 2 minutes to make a closing statement in which to state the legacy he or she would like to leave if elected to the office. Prior to this, we drew for seating and question order, so we will begin with Mr. Michael Marsh as candidate A for his opening remarks, followed by Ms. Betty Comp as candidate B, and Mr. Matt Geiger as candidate C.
Hello, I am Michael Marsh. I am the Constitution Party candidate for State Representative, House District 22. My first priority is to look at the 1,000 or so bills that we'll be checking out and see how they compare with the Constitution. And if they do not, then I will vote no. There are some other things that I intend to do. The state of Oregon is in debt over $12 billion. The Oregon Constitution says the state of Oregon is not supposed to be in debt even 1 penny. So any bonds that come up, I'll be voting no. I would like to abolish at least one state agency, and that's the Child Kidnapping Agency, because there's no due process, and this is an issue that should be handled at the local level instead of the state level. And I think Oregon families would be a whole lot better off if that agency did not exist at the state level. In education, I would like to make it so that education dollars go to educating the child rather than to a state bureaucracy. Right now, the federal government is too involved, and we need to get it down to the local level. And with Common Core, which was designed to do 2 things. One, make a lot more money for Bill Gates, like he doesn't have enough billions already. And the other thing it's designed to do is turn children into ignorant slaves. And neither one of these are a proper function of the government. So that's kind of where I'm heading. Good luck.
Ms. Comp.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Betty Comp, and I have been humbled and honored to serve as House Representative for 10 years in House District 22. And House District 22 is Woodburn, Jervis, Brooks, and North Salem. It is a district that has a tremendous amount of poverty and people in need. I come from a background, to introduce you a little bit. I was born here in Oregon, and I'm one of 13 children. And my parents started a dairy farm when I was little, about 5 or 6 years old. And my older 2 siblings used to go out and milk cows and do the chores with my parents. And it was my job and my responsibility to stay in the house and take care of the children. Obviously, I have a number of siblings younger than I am, and fix breakfast, make lunches, get people ready for school. What I took away from that experience is a tremendous amount of trust by my parents. They trusted me to take care of my siblings, and they trusted me to do a lot of adult things. And so through that experience, what I have brought to the House District 22 is a tremendous or an ongoing support for our constituents. I answer nearly every constituent email myself. They call me, and I love to have their calls. And that is one of my priorities, is serving the public. That is what I feel why I'm elected, and it's my job to listen and learn from our constituents. My agenda is one that is about economic stability. Coming from a background of not having much when we were growing up, we didn't go on welfare because we had a dairy farm and we could grow a garden. If we didn't live on a dairy farm, it would be very difficult. But I want economic stability, and the way to get that is to make sure that all of our students have a great education plan and that they can get jobs that are good middle wage jobs. And the last thing that I work on at all times is to make sure that our seniors can stay in their homes. They have put their whole life into giving to the community and their families, and it is really important and one of my priorities to support Oregon Project Independence and to make sure that if somebody just needs Meals on Wheels or somebody to help clean their house to keep them in their home, that's what we'll do. Thank you.
Mr. Geiger.
Thanks, Ann. So my name is Matt Geiger. I am the Republican candidate and the independent nominee, Independent Party of Oregon candidate for House District 22. I'm a small business owner in the Woodburn area and also a coach and a former substitute teacher. I'm actively engaged in our community, whether it be a senior coffee hour, a girls volleyball game, opening night of the play, or a ribbon cutting for a new business in town. I'm one of the guys you always see everywhere. I'm also known as a consultant in the area, whether it be insurance, which is what I sell insurance, or other projects. And I like to use this example with people. I had a mother of one of the coaches, or one of the kids that I coach, come to my office recently and had the draft card, have to sign up for the draft card for their young boy. And she was afraid, she comes from Ukraine, and she was afraid that this meant he had to go to the military because of this. And she had already lost her husband in the last year, and one of her sons, and didn't want that to happen, but didn't have anyone else to ask. But she knew her son's coach may know the answer, so she came to me. That's what I bring to this district. I'm a true resource for the community. My client base is diverse from all walks of life. I deal with fitting people with insurance products that meet their need. And do it within their budget. And that's what I want to take to the state. I want to take a budget-minded approach to government where we look at the needs of the state of Oregon and we fit it within our budget. We don't need to raise taxes. We just need to reallocate money to the right spots. One of my top priorities is going to be working on our broken land use system in the state of Oregon that is way out of balance. Specifically, the small cities of Oregon have not had a place at the table when they've wanted systematic, responsible growth for their communities, including our community of Woodburn, as well as smaller communities like Scappoose and McMinnville have had the same problems. So I really want just to get a voice at the table for those people. Also, being a coach, I see how our education has slipped over the past 10 years, how we've gone from somewhere in the middle of the pack to now in the bottom 5 in the country in educational achievement. I really want to work on getting us moving in the right direction again. And finally, I want to be an advocate for small businesses. Being a small business owner myself, I came to the Woodburn area with nothing. I had no policies. I had no clients. I knew nobody in Woodburn 9.5 years ago. And now I'm here running to be your next state representative because I am an integral part of our community and I want to take our voice down to Salem. Thanks.
All right. Mr. Marsh, how has your experience prepared you to be a representative?
Well, I've complained a lot to my representative. You can ask Betty about that. And you can ask my state senator, Peter Courtney. He also is well aware that I disagree a lot. So I'm comfortable being there. And in the past, I've made recommendations. Please don't vote for this, or this is something you should support. Both ways. And every once in a while, I even say, thank you for your vote on an issue, but that probably doesn't happen as often as either one of them would like. But I think I'm prepared because I do know the people and I'm comfortable being there, and I do have ideas, and I am willing to listen to other people's ideas. we don't have to hate each other just because we disagree. And that's one of the things that really concerns me, is there is too much hostility against people that disagree. So I think I'm ready.
Ms. Comp.
Thank you. I feel like I've been in a leadership role since about the age of 7. And so throughout my life, I've had numerous opportunities. I was elected to school board in 1986 and served on a school board and chaired the board for 1 year. That led to, I was doing that while I was going to college and before I got my job as a teacher. Being a classroom teacher, a high school teacher at Woodburn High School brought me all kinds of learning, particularly about my community and the people that we serve. After that, I became a school principal, and I did administration for 10 years. And I love working with large groups of people and helping them be successful. It's not always, it isn't about me, it's about helping them be successful. In the legislature now, I've served on numerous committees throughout my 10 years, from veterans to revenue to judiciary. But my passion, my absolute passion, is education and making sure that the dollars are being spent in the classroom. I co-chair the Education Budget Committee, and we have a tremendous amount of responsibility in that role. I also, this February, was elected Speaker Pro Tem of the House of Representatives, and that's a unified position where I support all the members of the House equally and help all of us be successful.
All right.
Yes,
How has your experience prepared you to be a representative?
I'm one of those guys that as soon as I get on a committee, whether it is the Boys and Girls Club founding of Woodburn, our Rotary Club, I get moved up into leadership quickly for some reason, and at that point, I take control as a delegator, as a leader, and as a get stuff done kind of guy. And what that means for the people of District 22 is I have experience of being the new kid on the block. I have done, not only coming to Woodburn when I started my business, but when I start on a committee, I'm really good at seeing things through and getting some action moving in the right way. A great example of this is I've been on the City of Woodburn Budget Committee over the past 2 years, and we have made terrific strides, even with this hard economic times, to really protect the assets of Woodburn that we have, really keep the services going in the city that are important to our citizens, one being the Aquatic Center, our library system. And most importantly, we were able to fund more abatement procedures this year, which will make the city cleaner, which will start ending blight and stuff like that. So I'm one of those guys that there is a record, and you can really see kind of the work I've done, and hope I can keep it going to the next level. So, thanks.
Ms. Comp, what are the most pressing transportation issues facing Oregon and the most promising approaches to address these?
Thank you for a great question. We have been working for the last few years, and we have spent quite a bit of money on looking at the Columbia River crossing. We need to have I'm going to use concrete in a different term rather than cement, but we need to absolutely have a plan with the state of Washington to go forward and to get this done. I think it is urgent, it's critical. The amount of congestion and lives lost and accidents, the costs that are happening up as people cross the Columbia River for work going both ways is a major issue. The other thing that many people are working on, and I really would like to see this in my lifetime, and that is a passenger rail that moves from Seattle all the way down to San Francisco. Many people have started this, and then there seems to be a few barriers or bumps in the road, then they lose heart and it doesn't move any further. I would really think that is something that will help us all in the future if we had a rail system to move us better and faster than the interstate.
Mr. Geiger.
Yes, thank you. So I think one of the biggest issues we have in transportation in the state of Oregon is the accountability side of things. I've seen projects like the CRC spend $150 million and not have any bridge built, where that money could have been spent on improving roads, getting our Woodburn interchange, which is finally getting completed after 10 years of delays, which is an amazing project, by the way. It just could have been done for half price, 8 to 10 years ago. I really want to see a better accountability. That's been my whole one of my whole missions with budgets and state departments going forward. Is I really want to see maybe even an outside agency do an audit of our state departments, including transportation, and really see not where necessarily the waste is, but the efficiency of that dollar. Hey, we needed to spend the money on that project. Okay, did we accomplish what we really set out to do? So a full audit, a full look at things with a new set of eyes. And then when we do prioritize other state projects going forward, we can use that and develop those best practices that'll help us the next time we have an interchange that's overwhelmed, like our Woodburn interchange was, or like the highway that needs to go out past in McMinnville toward Dundee. We just really need a better way to prioritize these future projects.
Thank you. Mr. Marsh.
The main problem with our Department of Transportation is they have too many planners, but not enough people that actually do the work. And it cost, what, $100 million to drop the plans for Columbia River crossing, which nobody on either side really wanted. And when you look at the bridge itself, it would carry less traffic than the one they're replacing. And they were going to make it a toll bridge so that half the people that would use it would just go clog up 205 instead. There's nobody that really cares about how it's actually going to work. And they have this, and it's a problem with a lot of state agencies. They have this one size fits all, and they don't actually look at what they're doing, and that's something that has to change. And probably we need a new governor that will fire some of these people and start getting people that will actually do the work.
All right. Mr. Geiger, are there any of the ballot measures about which you feel strongly, and why?
Yeah, there's a few. One of the biggest one is probably 91, the marijuana initiative. I've worked with the Marion County Safety Committee on the Striking Out Meth initiative for, I believe it's either 7 or 8 years now, with people like Commissioner Milne and Jason Meyer, our sheriff. And what that program, if you're not familiar with that program, what it is it's a baseball game at Kaiser Station that promotes public safety. It promotes being aware of the signs of methamphetamines, not just in your family, but also in your community. And then one of the coolest parts, in my opinion, of the whole deal is it brings foster kids and Boy Scouts and kind of other wards of the state to a baseball game and gives them a sense of normalcy. So it's this amazing program. And in talking with people like Jason Meyer and our police captain in Woodburn, and nobody wants this, especially on the public safety side. The other whole factor of it is, Washington and Colorado are kind of doing the vetting process for us on the recreational marijuana. And in my opinion, it needs more time. It needs at least 4 years worth of kind of experimentation in those states. They don't have a good DUI test yet. They don't have other proper controls to really tax and regulate the product. And I think until that stuff is figured out, we really need to have a no vote on 91. So.
Mr. Marsh.
Probably one I would be most opposed to, and for very practical reasons, is the one that the top 2-tier primary. And because what that does right now, there are other candidates, but if this passes, it's just going to be the top Democrat and top Republican, or sometimes just the top Republican or just the top Democrat. And you're not really going to have a diverse opinion on the ballot. And you're going to lose the ability to make really good choices. Now, whether people vote for me or not in this election, they can. They have that option. And this measure is an attempt to take that away. And so that would be the one that I would be the strongest on, is we need to keep our ability to choose outside of the main two parties, or the main one party in some areas. And so that would be my, we do need a diversity on the ballot. Thank you.
Ms. Comp.
Thank you. As I shared earlier, I was a high school teacher and a principal. And I want to make this very clear that I do not support the legalization of marijuana. I think it is a huge problem. Well, it already is a problem. And as a teacher, my students used to give speeches and debate, and they frequently tried to convince me that we should legalize marijuana. And I kept telling them, they said, well, what did we convince you? And I said, no, I'm sorry. I have 4 daughters of my own, 8 grandchildren, now 3 great-grandchildren. And marijuana impedes the brain growth, and it changes. There is scientific research on all this, and that your brain is still developing until you're at least 26 years old. Bringing legalized marijuana, I don't believe, is going to solve the problem of the drug cartels and all the things that are happening now. I just know that the behaviors that I observed and the students that I dealt with, that marijuana is what they call a gateway drug. It is a drug that will lead to meth or other serious, very serious drugs that you can't, it's really hard to break that addiction. So for those reasons, I absolutely do not support the bill supporting marijuana.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marsh. Many articles are written about the negative aspects about education in our state. What do you consider to be the positive components or directions?
What they're doing that's positive right now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is more diversity in education now, or at least the potential for it, than there was years ago. Because this is a really big issue where one size does not fit all. But you do have online schools, you have charter schools, and you have the government schools, and you have homeschooling. And Oregon is pretty good about allowing people to go into these different options which best fit the child's individual needs, because each child is going to be different and they need to be handled differently. In fact, that's one of my main issues is so that the money would actually be there, because the government has taken our money for education, and it should go for education, and the parents need more ability to say, yes, I want to have a charter school, or I want my child in even a religious school or a private school or homeschool or an online school, whichever best suits that individual child. That's where we need to go.
Ms. Comp.
Thank you. Being on the Education Budget Committee gives me a real opportunity to know all the components that we're working on, and it is we call it a PK continuum, from birth to a lifelong learner. And I think the most important piece that Oregon has started, and that is how to ensure that our children are ready to start kindergarten. It's called the Early Learning Program. And that starts with read out loud, that physicians, when they're doing their well child clinics, actually sit down with the parents and read a book and show the parents how reading and how attentive the child is and how important it is. So these are just beginning steps. We have the relief nurseries that have been happening here in Marion County through the work of Salem's work with early learning and with, again, drug-addicted babies or parents. And these are the steps. This is the foundation that we need to lay very clearly, and I am so excited because we have quality people like Sue Miller and other members of this community that go above and beyond to make sure our children are prepared.
Thank you. Mr. Geiger.
Yeah, great question. And I'm very familiar with this issue since on a daily basis, at least right now, I'm working with the kids that that are in our school system, whether it's on the football field or mentoring them. I do a lot of mentoring in Woodburn for a senior project. We do senior projects at Woodburn High School. And one of the best things I've probably seen come out of this is there's a Shemeketa program that we have in the Woodburn district that if you achieve a certain GPA, that you actually get to go to Shemeketa for 2 years, as long as you maintain that GPA, and they pay for up to a certificate or a 2-year associate's degree, which then transfers in state. One of the biggest things I think that does is it saves kids money. The cost of education these days are so expensive. I actually told one of my former players the other day, if I did it all over again, if I was a senior this year, I would go to a community college first. You know, I was lucky enough to be able to go to a school out in New York and play college football. It was just a different world. Today, I would totally go to a smaller 2-year school and then look at my options so I didn't come out of college with a tremendous debt. Once again, I was fortunate enough to have some scholarship money with mine, but I don't think that's true for most kids. So I really like the fact that we have that program, and I hope to keep it going. I really do.
Ms. Comp, the population is aging, so how should our government deal with the associated costs such as health, support services, mental health, and recreation?
Thank you for such a great question, as I did turn 65 this summer. But I think the way that we need to help seniors, and it is different than the way I was raised. I did not have health care, any kind of health care coverage until I was 40 years old. And that result has been, I have a lot of crowns on my teeth and other things that have occurred over the years. But when we have the health care that is now being provided, that we did through the Oregon health care, I cover Oregon. Even though the system did not work well, we got health care for almost 500,000 new Oregonians. And 100,000 of those are children. So we are off to a good start, because if you have a good, like I say, that good foundation, and the health care that seniors need, I strongly feel, needs to be delivered to them in their home at all times if possible. The amount of people that are going into nursing homes has lessened. I think that's a good thing. And the cost of a nursing home will cost you 2 to 3 times more than what it will be to stay in your home. So there is a budget and a balance of all these things that we really need to look at, and not look at just today, but tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Can you rephrase it for me, or re-say the question?
The population is aging, so how should our government deal with the associated costs such as health, support services, mental health, and recreation?
Beautiful. Okay, so I get this question a lot because of the doors I've been knocking. A lot of seniors, and at senior coffee hour, I get the question: how are you going to take care of us? What are you going to do? You know, you're my grandkids' age. Like, what are you going to do for us? You know, and it's really funny when I actually start talking to people about the opportunities they have. It's almost like it's an education piece. Oh, did you know, like, you can get picked up by the city and they'll take you to the concert in the park that we have? Really? They can do that? So I think there is an availability of these services. I think it needs to be an education piece that really gets out and does outreach to seniors. Go to the community centers. Go to, like, the Salem 50 Plus Center. Amazing facility here, right, in town. In Woodburn, we have the Estates Golf and Country Club, which a lot of the seniors, even that don't live in the Estates, go to for the coffee hours. I think there really needs to be more of a community outreach on that. Secondly, we need to keep people in their houses. And by doing this, we need to make sure we're keeping the tax deductions they currently have, such as the property tax deduction. We can't touch stuff that seniors really count on. A lot of my clients are fixed income. They really need to know kind of what they can plan for in the future. Another final element is making that transition to assisted living and independent living or nursing care easier, whether it's a state advocate for somebody who doesn't necessarily have family, or just really, once again, providing that helping hand to get that senior the education piece they need. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Marsh.
it's good that there are these programs for seniors. I think one important thing is, because I do unfortunately fall in that category, and we do have a fixed income, most of us. And so at the legislative level, one thing that we should look at is how do our bills that we're looking at, are they going to cause inflation? Because that's very important. Every time the price of gas goes up, that's less money. Every time the price of food goes up, that's less money. And one of the things is, there's a lot of talk about raising the minimum wage. And that is an inflationary tool, and that's all it really does is cause inflation. That's why I'd vote against it. Another thing, and I've been talking with people, the deduction, once you reach a certain age, you don't have to pay property tax anymore, which is good. But they still keep it on the books. So 20 years later, when the owner dies, there's a $30,000 tax bill, and so the family, they're looking at this $35,000 tax bill, and they're saying, how do we do it? And so we need to work on that.
Now we have time for our closing statements, and Mr. Geiger will begin.
Thank you. I want to first of all thank everybody for watching, for giving us a chance to talk about ourselves a little bit. This campaign is not about us. It's about you, the District 22 voters, and that's what I want to say in my closing here. What you're going to get out of me as a candidate is a true advocate for our district, a leader, a voice, and really a fresh start. I like to use the example that if your car was broken and you took it to a mechanic, and the mechanic had the car for 10 years, but yet the car still didn't work, would you really give that mechanic 2 more years to work on it? And I want to kind of leave you with that thought. I think it is time for a change in our district. It is time for a fresh voice. And somebody like me who has a bipartisan spirit, both, like I said, both with the Republican and the independent nomination. That shows that I'll be willing to work with people in the future from both sides of the aisle, and not only keep the heart and the voice of our district in mind when I go down to Salem, but realize that at the end of the day, I'm an Oregonian. I'm not a Republican or an independent. I'm an Oregonian first, and that's what you're going to get out of me. Matt Geiger, House District Candidate for District 22. Thanks, guys.
Mr. Marsh, your closing remarks.
First, I want to thank the League of Women Voters and CCTV for putting on this debate. Very important that people know where we stand on issues. I think I'll finish up what I was talking about on the property taxes for seniors. What I'd like to do is, since they're not paying anyways, instead of building it up, I'd like to see it just ended. And then when the person dies, that the tax can be reinstated. And that way the family can have the home, which right now a lot of people are losing their homes. Also, I would like to push for more of a nature-based resource on the economy rather than relying on the income tax. In fact, I'd like to abolish the income tax. Historically, when countries have the income tax, the people are not prosperous and the government is not prosperous. And in fact, that's why the United States did not have an income tax. It's in the federal papers because they looked at these other countries. And they went with a commerce-based tax instead of an income tax. So I hope people will like my ideas and vote for me. And I'm Michael Marsh, the Constitution Party candidate for State Representative, District 22.
All right, Ms. Gump, your closing remarks.
Yes, and again, thanks to the League of Oregon Women's and CCTV. I might get a little emotional before I finish this, but to me, my legacy, the legacy that I leave my state and my family is about children. I have been given a wonderful gift, and that is to just absolutely love every child. I would just be sitting here in a rocking chair if I could, holding an infant. In fact, that's probably what I'll volunteer after I get to another stage in life, is helping take care of infants. I was a daycare provider. I was a cook in a school. I couldn't wait till the kids came and talked to me at lunchtime. And that's what led me to every step that I've gone to be a teacher, to be an administrator, and now somebody at the state level that can advocate for our children. My legacy will be when every child, when we have 100% of all of our students graduating from high school. That is my legacy. To that, we're going to work on that. We're going to work on that from early learning to make sure that all of our children are reading. Just had a conversation with one of my granddaughters about how's reading going, and my grandson Henry told me last year he was the only one in kindergarten that knew how to do takeaway, Grandma. And that kind of excitement in learning is what I want to see happening for all children. And that's the legacy that I have built and continue to work on at the legislature. Everybody trusts me on this issue, and I feel privileged to work on it. And now I'm starting to work on it at a national level. And I would hope that the people of House District 22 feel that I have met my job and my duties, and I want to thank them for their support.
Thank you. That is all the time we have. You have been watching Your Vote Counts, a candidate forum for Oregon House of Representatives, District 22. Thank you to our candidates for participating today. We hope you will watch our other candidate forums. Please see the CCTV website for times and dates. These forums are a public service to voters to become more acquainted with candidates who hope to lead our city, our county, and state governments in the coming years. Ballots will be mailed beginning October the 15th and must be received by the County Election Department no later than November 4th. We urge you to exercise your right to vote. This is Diana Bodker from the League of Women Voters and our partner, CCTV. Thank you for watching Your Vote Counts.